This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Welcome to today's edition of the SAU Report. We're your hosts, Duane Maeweather
and Duane Bwerani.
Today we'll be interviewing two people whom we find very important to the SAU staff and faculty. One, Mr. Fred Alexander.
And Mr. Jerry Thomas. I'd like to welcome you gentlemen to the show. First of all, we'd like to start off by getting a feel of your educational background, from start to the point you're at now.
Okay. I attended Waldo High School. That's where I graduated from in 1988. When I graduated, I went to the military. I was there. I signed up for the Army Reserve. And after I got out of the military, I came here to SAU in Magnolia. And I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science degree in history and a minor in math. And after I graduated from here at SAU, I took a job, the job that I'm working with now, Upward Bound, and I started working toward a master's degree. And I graduated last year with a master's degree in agency counseling.
Mr. Alexander?
Well, I attended most of the Freehope School, the Rural School, and then I came to Magnolia High School to my ninth grade, finished ninth grade. And from there, I worked different jobs, odd jobs, and in 1957, I got married. And my wife was working here at SAU, and her boss said that he wanted her husband to work out here with her. So I've been here ever since.
How old were you when you first started with it?
21.
21 years old? Man. What inspired you to stay with SAU? I mean, you could have went anywhere else, but you stayed.
Well, it was just a living like most anything else, and I was raising a family, and I couldn't afford to lose no work. I was getting enough to survive, and so I thought I'd just stick with this since I would survive, and so we messed around in my odd job where we bought a home, and we started paying rent, so I had a home to live for and to look out for, and raising my children. I had 5 children, 4 boys and 1 girl.
Mr. Alexander, what types of adversity did you face when you first came here to work for Southern Arkansas University? Well, back then it was Southern State College.
Well, he was pretty nice. I mean, we had a lot of black people working, and they was jolly, and they had a lot of interesting words to say, and we all worked together, had good communication. But those that wasn't any black student at that time, but we got along good, and we did more hard work than they did now, because we didn't have the material and all of that to work with.
Mr. Thomas, what are your education? I mean, what is your general strength and weaknesses of your job? I mean, just give an example.
Strengths. Some of the strengths, well, just a little bit about what the Upward Bound program is. What we do is we work with high school students in Southwest Arkansas, and what we do is we try to motivate them to complete high school, and once they complete high school, to enter college. So that's the goal of the program, to keep them in high school and then make sure that they go to college. The strengths of the job would be, some of the strengths are that some of the skills that we provide to students with, we expose them to a lot. They get introduced to college, and we take them on cultural field trips. So those are some of the strengths of the program, to kids who are first-generation college students, which means that their parents don't even have a college degree. We expose those kids to something different and offer them some more opportunities. Some of the weaknesses would be that we don't have all the resources to do all what we want to do with our kids. We would like to do twice as much as what we're doing right now. Currently, we only service about 10% of the eligible population, 5% of the eligible population. So we would like to see our funds increase so that we can serve 10% of those students who are eligible for our program. Each year we turn down students who are eligible for participation in our program.
Do you feel like you can make a difference with this, the upper bound students that you work with?
Yes, we do make a difference, and the differences are small, but some of them are big. I see every day some of the small differences that we make with the kids, little things. They have problems, day-to-day problems that they're dealing with. We have counselors who are on staff who meet with them, talk to them about little things. We think are little, but they're big things to them. It may be academic, schoolwork, or it might be relationships that they're having problems with. It could be peer pressure or whatever. Those are the small things that we deal with our students with to help make a difference.
So you figure that the peer counselors can reach out to these young kids better if they, you know what I'm saying, if they're around their age or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a question about, do you think that there's a student that's out there that you've known that you haven't been able to reach or wanted to reach out to, but he or she may have been I'll say maybe a lost cause or didn't want to cooperate or you know, wasn't apt to work with?
Sure, we have the students who are in the program. Each year we do, we go to area high schools and we make a presentation to the school, and we get applications, and sometimes it's 100+ applications each year. And of all those applicants, we have to do a home visit where we go into the house and we meet the parents and we tell them about the program. I see a lot of kids that, and then we come back to the office and we look at all the kids and we see those kids who would best, our program could best meet their needs. We can't put all of them in. Sometimes we only have 30 slots to put those kids in. So 30 get in, and 50 they won't receive our services. So sometimes that's a problem. But once they get here, yes, I do see students who come here who the program is not for them, meaning that because it's an academic program. But most of the time, the students who get into the program, they stay there because of the what we do for them. They stay in the program.
Mr. Alexander, what was it like 40 years ago when you first started through now, compared from 40 years ago to now?
Well, from 40 years ago up to now, it's been a lot of change, a lot of different in the whole system. I mean, the people's, a lot of change has been made in them because some of them seem like they doesn't understand, and some of them try to climb the ladder too fast. And it seems like some of them don't mind stepping on his feet to get to where they're going. But back then, although mostly would go along together 40 years ago.
Mr. Alexander, what were you doing when you learned that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had been assassinated? Were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
How did you find out about it, and what was your reaction?
He came over the radio, and I was really, I got it, I got it one evening, and he was really shocked me. really shocked me at that time. Because I feel like he was a great man and he was doing the thing right. He wasn't making any difference. He was for all races. And I fell in love with it for that, from all the speakers I have heard him speak.
Have you heard any of his speeches? Was you there at any of them, personally?
No, I wasn't able to.
Was there any kind of drastic change in your job after Dr. King got killed or something like that? I mean, was it any form of racism brought to SAU campus? I mean, did they look at you different or what?
No, they didn't look at me different. When that happened, they didn't look at me no different.
How many presidents have you worked under?
4.
4. And out of those 4, which one do you think was the best?
I think Dr. Alma Bruce, to my recollection.
What made him so special?
Well, at that time, that's when he got the retirement started. And that was real great to
more
me.
money, huh?
And more money when you get off, when you be able to retire, when they let you know you had an extra check coming.
What do you think about the current president, President Gamble? What is your take on him?
Well, I hadn't, dealt with him too much, and so I couldn't really say one way or the other at this time.
Mr. Thomas, what do you think about President Gamble?
I think President Gamble's done a real good job since he's been here. He's made some changes, some positive changes for the school. He's genuinely interested in the students to ensure that this is a real good school for the students who are here.
Mr. Thomas, what inspired you to become a area coordinator for Upper Bound? I mean, a few years back, you used to work with incoming freshmen. Because if I recall, you was a part of the Big Brother program, and I was one of them. So, I mean, did that inspire you?
I've always been interested in working with kids, in helping people, and because a lot of times people don't know what's available, information is out there, and they don't know what's available. So I've always been interested in helping people or educate people. That's my field. And that's what interests me. Particularly the Upper Bound program. I was in the Upper Bound program. That's how I first got introduced to SAU. I went through the program, came to SAU, graduated, and came back and got my master's from SAU. So Upper Bound gave me my start. So I really support the program. It works, and people like me, it's living proof that the program works.
Do you inspire the kids that you have to follow the path that you did, the same way you just told that?
It's real good because I have a real good rapport with the students. They can understand me. I tell them, hey, a few years ago, I was in high school, or more than a few years ago, I was in high school too, and I was right there in the same situation you're in right now.
How do you feel about your coworkers? Both, yes. People that you work for. Don't nobody want the question.
What did you say?
How do you feel about the people that you work with?
Oh, my coworker is real nice. I've been able to get along with them all. I have a lot of fun with them, but at the time, and then when I get down to really mean business, well, then I get down to business, and they understand me.
So you're a no-nonsense type of guy, huh?
Yeah.
Mr. Thomas, how do you feel?
Well, I enjoy working with the people that I work with. They're very professional. As a matter of fact, not just the people who are in my department, but the people all over this campus at SAU. They're very good to work with, and I see a lot of good relationships on campus. I mean, different departments working together.
Mr. Thomas, what is your greatest achievement for working here at SAU?
The greatest achievement is each year when we graduate, the seniors graduate from high school, actually seeing them in high school when they graduate, and then we too have a upward bound graduation where they graduate from the program. That's a real good experience. It's very rewarding. Seeing students who came in 10th grade and stay in the program 3 years and then graduate from high school. And that's very rewarding, seeing where some of the backgrounds where some of these kids came from and seeing the obstacles that some of them overcame. And it's just a real good, rewarding experience. Also the experience when they actually come to college. Most of our kids do come to SAU, so getting them enrolled in school, they're all excited, I'm excited. It's just a new beginning, and it gives you a sense of like what you're doing is worthwhile and it's making a difference.
Mr. Alexander, you've been here, what, 40 years?
40 years.
I mean, 40 years of different attitudes from kids. How do you do it? I mean,
Well, I've been asked a lot of times, but way I did it, I take so much, and then I just walk out over the campus and come back and start all over again.
I mean, how do you deal with certain things that go on in the dorm, like, you know, beer cans and stuff like that? I mean, and you know, knowing that it's illegal and stuff like that. How do you deal with it?
Well, where I deal with it, well, most of all, that's their part. They're here to get an education. So he can't hurt me in it because I'm not a user. So I'm here to work and do my 8-hour work and be ready to go home. And I leave my job here. When I leave, I don't carry it home with me.
Mr. Thomas, who is a person or persons on this campus whom you admire?
People on this campus that I admire. There are several people on this campus that I admire. Mrs. Woods, who's in the counseling center. She's someone that I've worked with as a student at SAU in that Big Brother program that you were talking about. I was a Big Brother in that program for incoming freshmen. I admire her. A lot of people, I don't want to get into names, calling people names, but there's so many professional people on this campus that I really admire.
Okay. During your growing up, from my childhood to adolescence to your present title now as the area coordinator and the director of the Upward Bound program, who has been that person with mother or father who is just giving you that push, that go get it, you know, the one who's now like, Jerry, you know, you got to do this, or what was your motivation?
I had a lot of people in my life who just really motivated me, gave me encouragement. I grew up at home, and in my house at home, I mean, it was a positive environment. Everyone encouraged one another. There was a lot of love there. Most of my brothers and sisters, they didn't go get college degrees, but that's still okay. They're working people, and there's just a lot of support and a lot of love there. And we all encourage one another. So I'd have to say the family structure that I grew up with, my mother and my...
Mr. Thomas, what process do these kids have to go through to be a part of the program?
To be a part of the program, they have to qualify, first of all, meaning that they have to be what we call a first-generation college student or qualify on income or by being handicapped. They can qualify on any of those criteria. There are some academic requirements. They have to have a C, grade point average to be a participant in the program. Those criteria qualify to be a participant in the program.
How do you screen your peer counselors? I mean, do they have to go through a screening process or something like that too, also?
Mm-hmm. The peer counselors are the students who you're talking about. They supervise, we have an 8-week residential program where the kids actually stay on campus, on SAU's campus for 8 weeks in a dorm. We hire college students, we call them peer counselors, to supervise the students while they're staying in the residence hall. What we look for is someone who's preferably a junior or a senior, someone who's mature, someone who's responsible, and someone who could have a real good rapport with the students.
Have you ever had to endure racism on this job? And if so, how'd you deal with it?
To my knowledge, I haven't confronted racism since I've been working here at SAU. As an undergraduate student and a graduate student, I don't recall any blatant racism. I haven't witnessed any. I'm not naive to the fact that it might not exist. I'm sure it does, but I just haven't encountered any of those type of experiences.
Okay. What do you think about this campus not observing Martin Luther King's national holiday when all other schools around the area observe it except this college? How do you feel about it?
I think that was an administrative type decision that they made, whether to observe King's day. From my understanding, they observed it at a different time. That was the understanding that I received. But whether that was right or whether that's wrong, I feel that if it's a national holiday, then it should be observed during that time when it's supposed to be celebrated. That's my personal feel for it. However, it was an administrative decision that we observe it at a different time.
Have you personally taken any, steps or action to see that this policy could maybe somehow be changed?
Not personally, I haven't taken any steps to do anything like that.
Okay.
Mr. Alexander, what drastic changes from how long you've been working here to now? What do you see need to be done to the campus as a whole, as of your opinion, rather?
Well, in my opinion, like the yard, I mean, in my opinion, when I started work, we never went home with no grass on the walk. But now grass is on the walk from one cut to another one. So I think, the grass should be off. They're able to keep it off out of the building. Because when the student walk through there, they're going to walk right in the building, and they're going to get a custodian, a harder time to keep it clean.
When do you plan on retiring, and what do you plan on doing?
Well, I'm retiring June the 30th, and I'm going to take one day at a time. I don't want to make no plan. A lot of times they plan, you can't live up to them. I heard one lady asked me would I go visit grandkids more. I told her they're in my house all the time now, so
Mr. Thomas, being a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, what made you interested in this fraternity?
What put my interest in Kappa Alpha Psi? When I first came here as a freshman, I saw all the different Greek fraternities and all different organizations, and one stood out, and that was Kappa Alpha Psi. I liked the image that they had. I liked what they did on campus. They were very active on campus and off campus, and it was just an organization that I said I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to do the things that they were doing, because the things that they were doing was benefiting people on campus as well as people off campus in the community.
Hazing is a very big issue on any campus that has Greek life. How do you feel about it, and did you have to go through hazing?
There's no doubt that hazing it doesn't make sense. Physical hazing, it doesn't make sense for any organization to say, hey, in order to be a part of this organization, then we're going to have to demean you or physically abuse you. You're a rite of passage before you can become a member into the organization. It does exist, though. It does. Some organizations still feel like they have to try people or test people before they can be members of that organization. I feel that there are there's a process that that you can go through before you're in an organization, which requires, just like if you want to be a member of any organization, where the members screen you or interview you to ensure that if you that you can offer something to that organization. As far as any experiences with hazing,
do you think it's just physical? Don't you think it's also mental? Do you agree with because I mean, I know there's two aspects of hazing. You have your mental and your physical, and people don't like the physical aspect of it. So maybe do you believe in maybe the mental aspect of hazing?
Hazing, as far as making a person feel uncomfortable, embarrassing a person, or just demeaning a person, making him feel less than human, not showing him respect. In itself, I don't agree with that.
Mr. Alexander, out of the years you've been here, what was the worst time you have had on your job? I mean, what was the time you just said, man, I just want to let this job go and go on somewhere else?
Quite naturally, on any job, you might have a little worry, something come uncomfortable with you and your supervisor. So there was one time to come up with a little dispute with me and the supervisor.
Did y'all exchange words?
Well, not really, but I mean, he told me something, I said it wouldn't. So I stuck with my gun.
Oh.
So that was it. So that's where, if I'm right, you don't change me. I mean, you might tell me to leave, but I still have to leave.
Yeah.
But if I'm right, I don't care who it is, I'm gonna say it. I mean, who it cost me or what.
Mr. Thomas, as a career-minded a young man, where would you like to see your future, either here at SAU or either you might branch out and go elsewhere? What are some of your future plans or future goals in your life?
Future goals, I hope to hopefully one day maybe direct a program like that I work with, or some type of nonprofit organization that's interested in helping people economically or helping them to improve their educational attainment. Those are my ultimate goals. Somewhere, I'll always be somewhere in the profession where I'm giving assistance or in the helping field, helping profession, counseling.
So do you see yourself here at SAU a few more years, or are you gonna wrap it up in the next 5 or 10 years?
At this point, I'm just kind of taking one day at a time. And of course, I'm interested in improving myself. No doors are closed. If the opportunity presents itself where I can be more effective somewhere else or improve myself, then I will take advantage of that.
Well, okay. Well, Mr. Alexander and Mr. Thomas, I'd like to thank you for coming on our program today. This has been Duane Bonner
And Duane Maeweather.
Thank you.
The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.